Hi, welcome back to another video from the Marketing Doctor. I've been having a lot of conversations recently about the exact approach that we take to managing funnels for healthcare clinics. We've been doing this for over 5 years now, and we always see the same three problems come up. So the purpose of this video is to help you identify exactly which stage you're at, which problem that you're trying to solve at the moment, and exactly what you need to do next in order to solve it. So the approach that we take, and this is something that we use in-house as well as when we're talking to clients directly, specifically for healthcare clinics, is that the patient journey is your marketing funnel. So you have to get the patient to your website. You have to get the patient on your website to take an action, make an inquiry, leave their information. And then the third and final part is after they've registered interest and left an inquiry, you need to get them to book in or not book in, but you need to close that circle, and then you need to continuously reopen and restart that circle with new leads that come to your website. So you might already have an idea about where your problems lie. I've broken it down into four different problems or three different problems that we see over and over again. So the first problem is that nobody knows who you are. So this is what we would call a traffic problem. This is what most often happens with clinics when they just start up, or a clinic that's been going for a while but is still reliant on referrals, organic word of mouth from existing patients or their existing people in the area who know that they've set up a clinic, and it kind of gets them started with a bit of a patient base. Your problem here is that people don't know who you are, and so the solution is that you need to help people know who you are. You need to increase traffic. So the way you want to do this in the short term is typically through paid advertising or doing more in person. So what that looks like from a paid advertising perspective is either using Google Ads or using Facebook ads. Google Ads can work particularly well in very small areas where the competition is low. Meta ads can work much better in built up areas with a lot of competition where you want to keep your cost per lead, so your ad spend lower, rather than trying to compete with very large organizations with much larger ad budgets than you. What you don't want to do at this point is, if you've got a traffic problem, so there's two things you don't want to do. You don't want to increase traffic without a conversion plan. So this is something that is really the downfall of a lot of clinics when they get to the stage of being able to afford marketing support. They will dump a lot of money into their marketing, so they'll pay a few £1,000s per month on ads, on support, but they have no conversion plan backed up. So they kind of get this big rush of leads coming through to their website, or their monthly website traffic increases, but that isn't seen on the other end, the point 2 and the point 3. So all of a sudden you get lots of website traffic, lots of website views, visitors, but you do not get a number of inquiries that's proportionate to that increase in traffic, and you certainly don't get a proportionate number of an increase of patient bookings because of that. So although your problem is a traffic problem, you need to preemptively solve the conversion problem that you're going to get on the back. I think about it like turning a tap on before you turn the tap on at the top, in order to get loads of people to come to your website, which is an easy thing to do. You do not want to not have an idea of how to actually convert those people at the bottom. So once they get to your website, making sure that you have a system set up to make it easy for them to leave an inquiry, and also then knowing what to do once they've left an inquiry, because that's where your return on investment is, not on the initial increase in traffic. This is why you often see clinics get Google Ads support or get Facebook Ads support or social media support, expecting it to solve their growth constraint, whatever's stopping their clinic from growing at that particular time, and it doesn't, because they've just turned the tap on and turned traffic up without actually having a plan on how to convert that traffic into regular, patients that come to the clinic and use the services. So if nobody knows who you are, you don't have that much traffic, you can work on that either by paid advertising, by doing in-person events in your local area, again works particularly well in rural areas, or by using organic SEO. SEO takes longer to work, a few months at least. Ads, you can have more people coming to your website today if you set up an ad today. What you don't want to do at this stage is just blindly go on ahead and turn up the traffic source, because you don't want to leave yourself in a position where all of a sudden you've got lots of website visitors but no new leads or qualified leads, and then no new patient bookings on the back of that. You also at this stage don't want to rely on organic social media. So I've seen a lot of people recently on LinkedIn relying on organic social media as a way of generating interest. We are very good at managing social media accounts, and we've grown social media accounts to hundreds of thousands of followers we still are yet to see that have the same impact as something like SEO or paid advertising on social media. Organic social media is very difficult to master. It's very difficult to get people to take action from social media organically. I would not rely on it if I were a clinic owner. It does a lot to help build trust, and it can be a tool that you use to help conversion rate optimization as an example, but it's certainly not going to be something on its own that massively drives up patient inquiries and bookings. So once you've solved your traffic problem, you will then get into this point of the lots of website visitors but no inquiries. So what we're going to try and preemptively solve before we turn up our traffic. Your problem with having lots of website visitors but no inquiries is a conversion problem. So people are landing on your website or your landing page, but your website or your landing page is not built to actually deal with that. What you need to do here is conversion rate optimization, and that can look like a few different things. That can look like adding a chatbot with different automated systems and flows to alert the right person whenever an inquiry comes through. It can look like having your page set up in a way that it makes it very clear what you do and who you do it for and where you're based. It can look like adding more photos and videos to your website. It can look like making your website easier to navigate from a UX perspective. All of these things will work together to make it easier for people to leave an inquiry when they get on your website. Your website should be easy to use, and it should be really easy for someone to leave an inquiry. So either they can find the information themselves, or it's really easy for them to leave an inquiry and for you to get back to them with that information. Again, what you don't want to do at this point, and what often happens, is someone spends a bit of money on ads, especially what happens with Google Ads campaigns. You spend a bit of money on ads. The people running the Google Ads on your behalf see that you're not actually getting good results because you're getting people come to your website but not necessarily book or convert. And their response is usually you need to spend more money on ads. Again, if you do that, all you're doing at this point is adding more oil to a fire that's not burning correctly. You would be making the problem worse rather than making it go away. What you also don't want to do at this stage, which often happens, is people start running Facebook ads. They get a load of leads. We've had this with clients. You get a load of leads come through. You get qualified leads who are interested in starting treatment very soon. Or you get, potentially even before that, you just get a lot of website visitors. You get a lot of traffic coming to your website, and for some reason they're not booking. What you don't want to have happen, or if they're not leaving an inquiry at this point, you don't want to assume that, insert marketing tactic does not work. So you don't want to say Google Ads doesn't work. You don't want to say SEO is not working. I'm getting more website visitors, but no one's booking. Google Ads or Facebook ads don't work. Yeah, I'm getting loads of leads to the website, but or loads of visitors, but no one's becoming a lead. No one's leaving an inquiry. The goal of SEO, the goal of Facebook ads, and the goal of Google ads, or any of these things that increase traffic, is just to do that. It's just to increase traffic and get people to your website. Your website then has those things that I've mentioned previously, which serve this purpose of goal number 2, which is get people to leave an inquiry. So if people are not leaving an inquiry, it's that you're not fixing this part of the problem, which is the conversion rate optimization. It's not that your SEO is not working, or your Google ads or your Facebook ads are not working. These are all complicated problems. Obviously they kind of overlap, and it could be that you're running a Facebook ad to the wrong audience. It could be that the leads that are coming are not qualified enough, but most often the problem is just that you have not set yourself up to convert. You've not given your website the chance to convert people. So when we work with people, we always come in, and the first thing that we do is work out what a lead is, and a qualified lead. We set up conversion rate optimization, and we'll move on to what we do next after that. But we basically want to make sure that the infrastructure of the funnel is secure and ready to be scaled and ready to have traffic turned up before just turning it up and hoping for the best. So problem number 2, people land on your website but do not leave an inquiry. That's a conversion problem. You need to make it easier for people to leave an inquiry, so you need to do some conversion rate optimization. And what you don't want to do is just start switching between different ways of increasing traffic sources, or increase traffic by more, because you're just going to make an existing problem worse. Next thing is, and the last thing is, if you have another type of conversion problem, which is lots of people actually leave inquiries, but no one seems to generate new patients. So we had this happen very recently with a client of ours on Harley Street. We had lots of qualified leads, qualified by being in the local area, having the appropriate budget in mind for the treatment, ready to take action within the next 90 days, some even sooner than that. We turned on the tap at the top. We had everything set up in the way that we needed to. And then on the clinic's end, they did not handle the leads appropriately. So this is what happens. So if you've got your traffic set up properly, you've got people leaving inquiries at a good rate, but all of a sudden people are not booking in. Your last thing here that you need to improve is how you handle leads. What that typically looks like is your staff have not been trained appropriately. You've not been trained appropriately on how to deal with inquiries once they come through. It could be as easy as you're not getting enough information about the inquiries, but what often happens here is that you are not dealing with the inquiry in the right way. So when it comes through, you do not call people back quick enough. You do not call them often enough. You do not know what to say on the phone call once you call them if they pick up. You don't know what emails to send to them. You don't know what WhatsApp or SMS messages to send, and you don't know how often to do that, how frequently to do that, and how to then nurture them over a longer period of time. The way that you do not solve this, again, is by changing traffic source. So you don't need to change from Google Ads to Facebook Ads. You don't need to change from Facebook Ads to Google Ads. You don't need to stop your SEO work or start your SEO work. Your problem here precisely is that your team or you do not know how to handle a lead that comes through. And your biggest bottleneck here is, how can I train staff to deal with these leads appropriately? What SOPs do I need to create so that we know how to handle a call or a lead when it comes in, and what to do if we can't get through to them? This is the main problems that we see with healthcare clinics. These are the main problems that we see. So you can pretty much identify, I'm sure, which point you're at. You could have a mix of a couple of different problems. Problem 3 is typically for clinics that have been around for a longer period of time. They've already got 1,000 plus website visitors per month. They're already generating somewhere between 50 plus inquiries per month, but their conversion rate is just very low. Problem 2 is usually when people have invested in marketing support for the first time, and they have gone with an agency or a provider who just runs ads or just does SEO, and all of a sudden they're getting website viewers and traffic, but no one is actually leaving inquiries. And problem 1 is usually just clinics who have just started, or they've been around for a while, but they haven't put any real marketing effort into growing their clinic. So that's the approach I would take to solving each of these problems. I hope this is helpful, and this is literally the approach that we take for everyone. We will just work out based on these 3 criteria which point your clinic is at, and adopt some of these methods. And of course there's 50 other things that we're doing alongside this, but this is the most plain and simple that I could put it. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks.